Good evening, everybody. The Music Fan is back, brings smiles to the faces, knowledge to the people, and most importantly, music to the masses. And apologies for being late on this video. The end of last week was pretty crazy, and I just needed a little bit of time to myself. So I do appreciate you guys waiting, and I hope you do enjoy this video. Not only that, but I have this and the next two RU-ins ready. I'm recording them tonight. I will peel back behind the curtain. So you will have the other videos on time. And yes, there will be finally another 5-minute theory. Also, if you do hear something in the background, it is summer. I need my fan on so I can not die while making these videos. But anyways, I am back with another RU-in. This RU-in ties back into that theme that I was talking about with X Ambassadors, another band that I am interested in, but have always been kind of curious why they have gotten the notoriety that they have. So tonight we are taking a look at the newest Bastille album entitled Doom Days. Now Bastille is an indie rock / indie pop / synth pop band from London, England. Members including Dan Smith on lead vocals, piano and keyboards, Cal Simmons on piano and keyboards, backing vocals, bass and guitar, Will Ferguson on guitar, bass, backing vocals, keyboards, and piano, and Chris Woody Wood on drums, percussion, and backing vocals. Previous albums include Bad Blood in 2015 and Wild World in 2016. As you can see, we are continuing on that alliteration. I don't know if that is a coincidence or a intended thing, but yes, this is the third album with alliteration in its album title. Now, I got onto Bastille during my time with Wicked Pitch. A song was presented to us, which was Pompeii. We actually did do an arrangement of that. I can link to that particular arrangement if you guys would love to see it. I got to arrange it. It was a lot of fun. On a whim, I took a listen to the whole entire album. I enjoyed Pompeii that much that I wanted to take a listen to Bad Blood. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was an interesting pop album that had a lot of interesting arrangements with good layering. I love the songs Bad Blood, Things We Lost in the Fire, Flaws, Icarus as well. I think it was a decent album that did have a little bit of problems at the end with just the pacing and just the interesting arrangements, but it was a solid enough album that I believe I had it in my top 50 or just right outside of it. Came into Wild World hoping for a little bit more of the same, and what I got, honestly, was a kind of a mixed bag. I felt like there were some decent songs, like Good Grief, but the problem that I had, it was just a little bit too oversaturated. I believe that album was at least 14, 15 songs, and I felt like it got really oversaturated, and the metaphors on there didn't hit the way that they did on the previous album. I honestly came about not remembering most of the album, and it left a bad taste in my mouth in terms of this band. Though I felt like at that time that's where they got more popular, and I didn't understand that. Came into this album finding out it was a concept album, and I found the concept to be interesting, so it got my attention, took a listen. And for those of you who don't know the concept of this album, this is the span of one whole entire night where a group of friends go out to a party and they're trying to forget what's going on in the world, where all this craziness is happening politically, socially, also just the advancement of technology, and through that, the kind of the isolation idea of people, and trying to have a fun night, but also realizing that you can't get away from all these thoughts and these feelings. I think the concept of it is pretty interesting, though I have heard similar ideas, with Melodrama by Lorde a few years ago, as well as, in a different way, Drunk by Thundercat. I will say, though, that this particular idea is presented in an interesting way with a lot of very introspective and very vulnerable lyrics. I feel like this entire album resonates with me in a way because of someone in my late 20s who still is looking for love and looking for companionship. A lot of these ideas feel very resonant with me. The ideas of going out trying to find someone, just even for a night, so that you can feel a part of something and feel away from it all. And also trying to find someone so that you can have them with you for the night because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. I really enjoy the lyrical nature of a lot of this album and just how it transitions between really happy at the beginning to working out all the feelings of depression and of isolation and technology and the climate itself, and having to struggle throughout the whole entire album. And I will also say, for the first time, I think this concept works in the favor of Bastille. I think a lot of their music at first, on their first album, was a little more intricate, but as it went on, it started getting this more synth feel and more mainstream sound. I think that works in the favor of this concept, the idea of a party, because the music goes with that idea. There's a lot of songs that feel somewhat ravish, somewhat dance hall, discotheque, all these ideas. Songs like Quarter Past Midnight gets that vibe going at the beginning. I will say that one is the weakest song on the album, just because I feel like this is one of the only songs that does get a little bit oversaturated and overproduced, especially on the harmonies, and it just doesn't do enough interesting. But there are some other songs with that party vibe that works so well. Next song, Bastille, very bouncy, and I love the melody and how it plays around with that bounciness. The waves going out and in and out of just like this more mumbled and more echoed sound, as if at the end it feels like you're going under. Million Pieces, also very upbeat and just like very discotheque. I love this song, especially for the chorus. It has a phenomenal chorus. Also, Nocturnal Creatures, basically the party anthem of the night. I will say again, this one's a little bit weaker just because it is very simplistic, though it does fill the idea of what it's supposed to be. And even after you get past those ideas of the party being over, there are still some songs that do have a little bit more upbeat nature. Another Place, another phenomenal arrangement, and one with a really great melody and some really good choruses, especially the harmonies as well. All eventually getting to the final song, Joy, which feels a little bit like Good Grief, but does have a lot of jubilation and a lot of really good energy. A great way of ending this album. However, to get to that jubilation, we also do have to have moments of vulnerability, and there's a lot of that on here. And to me, that's where some of the best songs on the album do exist. Divide is the first one of these that's just really vulnerable. It does feel a little bit poppy, especially in the approach of the melody, but I think it builds so well, and it is one of the better vocals for Dan Smith on this album. When it gets more minimal, when it gets more vulnerable, it gives a way of highlighting this band in a way that it doesn't usually get to do. The build is fantastic, and this song about having the narrator basically ask everyone to stay and be there for the party, even though it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They don't want this to end because he doesn't want to go back to reality. Also, Doom Days, which honestly is one of my favorite arrangements because just of how it builds and how it keeps adding different layers. At first, it's just vocals and guitar, but then it adds some string parts. It adds this more house dance hall kind of vibe at the end, and it's such a short package. The cool thing about this particular song is the narrator is just talking about life in general and all these feelings that we're all trying to get away from and the state of the world. And from what I understand, Dan Smith had written so many more verses to this song, but decided to cut it down to here. Now, I personally would have loved to hear a little bit more because I love where this song was going. But still, it becomes a highlight in just the vulnerable nature of this train of thought idea. 4 a.m., the after effects of the night, another one of these vulnerable ones talking about the scene of the party where everyone's either leaving or is asleep. And it's another one of these nice vulnerable moments. It doesn't hit as well as some of the other ones, but still makes for an interesting listen. And then my favorite song on the album, Those Nights. This is where the arrangement and the lyrics add up so well to me. It's one that resonates with me so well because I have thought these thoughts very recently as well. The idea of just trying to find something to grasp onto for the night that might lead to something else. The arrangement's beautiful. It's another one of Dan Smith's highlights in terms of his vocals. It just highlights this idea that, like, yes, like hookup culture tends to have like kind of a detriment to it. The idea of going out there just to hook up and not really feel anything. But at the same time, there is a need there. It's the idea of, in this world that's so crazy right now, where we have just so much unrest socially and just how technology is kind of isolating us, this idea of feeling somebody there is one that we can all understand. Even though we are so connected through social media, it makes us feel less connected in a way. This song highlights this idea in a very vulnerable way that makes for a fantastic listen. Yes, the arrangements aren't always that interesting or as intricate as maybe stuff on Bad Blood was, but I think the concept focuses the band in a great way. I think they were all kind of disjointed on Wild World, whereas this one, the narrative flows so well. You feel the highs and lows of this night. I appreciate them being focused and having a narrative that just feels so seamless. Is it the most interesting music all the time? No. I think in terms of like the idea of one drunken night or one party night, I still think Melodrama does it a little bit better. I still think Drunk by Thundercat is a little bit more interesting to listen to. But this is a very serviceable album for this idea, and I'm glad that I gave it a chance because I was kind of going into this thinking I may not even review this. I'm not super happy to listen to it, but I came out with an album that I would definitely recommend listening to once. I'm not saying listen to it on repeat. It's not my type of album for that, but my verdict is listen to it once, just to feel that narrative, especially if you are someone 21 to 30, 35 maybe, who feels like I do in terms of the nature of the world and just trying to get away from all the craziness. This is perfect for you. So that's my time. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you love or hate this album and your reasons why. Share this with your friends. Subscribe to my channel. And also just let me know of other albums that you would like me to review from 2019. So, tomorrow, I'll be back with another Are You In? Until then, this is a Music Fan, and I'm signing off.